Wilkie Farr said, and by the way, this is Wilkie Farr are Blake Lively's lawyers. If you want to read along here, they said, "Our plan at docket 49 is no longer feasible. Counsel for Wayfarer did not tell us that they planned to file an amended complaint, including a 168 compendium," which is essentially all those text messages.
Did Blake Lively just seriously mess up? Word on the street is they made a huge mistake that's got everyone talking. And guess who's chiming in on the chaos? Justin Baldoni, of all people. You heard that right. When even Justin Baldoni is shocked enough to react, you know this drama is next level. So, what exactly did Blake do to turn into the villain of this story practically overnight? The story of Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively's legal battle is one of the biggest Hollywood controversies in recent memory. Could this be the beginning of the end for Blake and Ryan's image?
Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, will be deposed, and I suspect that might be making Ryan Reynolds extremely nervous.
Grab your popcorn because their world is starting to crack. And trust me, Justin Baldoni's jaw-dropping reaction to this scandal is only making things crazier. You won't believe how quickly their picture facade is crumbling, and we've got all the tea coming right up. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds got themselves tangled in a giant mess that they created. They wanted to look powerful and important, but they ended up looking careless and sneaky instead. Adding to the drama is Blake's husband, Ryan Reynolds, who is also tied into the situation. At first, you might think this is just another celebrity fight, but the more you look, the more complicated it gets. This story is so big that it feels like it never ends. At first, they tried to pretend everything was fine, but the truth came out like a strong wind, knocking them off balance. People found out that this was not just some small fight. It was a giant legal circus, set up to trick the public and blame someone else for problems that Blake and Ryan might have caused. It all began with gossip about how Blake Lively was using fake witnesses and shady legal moves to make herself look like a victim in court.
It felt almost like nervously so from her team of how much that clearly was the most important thing for them.
She seemed to believe that she could just say fancy things and cry a bit, and the judge would feel sorry for her. But that plan failed miserably. The judge saw that she was twisting facts. Juries hate liars and people who make up stories. Trials focus on truth, so they do not like it when someone tries to fool them. Blake Lively's reputation started to fall apart quickly once everyone realized what she was doing. Justin insisted that all of Blake's allegations were false or exaggerated, and he promised to share actual evidence, like texts, emails, and other records.
That she became uncomfortable with Justin Baldoni yesterday while she was filming. She states that Mr. Baldoni put his bare hands on her backside and said that he was trying to help her with her posture. Complainant immediately voiced her displeasure with being touched on an intimate part of her body, and Mr. Baldoni responded with, "It's fine. I'm totally hot for my wife," in a dismissive tone.
On the other side, Blake argued that she was standing up for her rights as a professional actress. She said that if she felt uncomfortable, or H, she had every right to speak out, even if it made waves. Supporters of Blake applauded her bravery, saying she was shining a light on how female actors can be mistreated, even by men who claim to be supportive of women's issues, wanting to collect evidence and not get swept up in a public argument. Some saw this as a sign that he might be guilty. Others saw it as a smart move, giving him time to prepare a solid defense. Eventually, Justin came forward and gave statements saying that he would fight the allegations head-on. This led to a huge flurry of posts on social media, commentary from fans, and even statements from other celebrities. She would probably try to win it. She changed her version of events all the time. It was like she was rewriting her own script whenever it suited her. She had started with one story, then switched it up to something else, then added more nonsense to make it sound more dramatic. She filed a complaint that was nearly 180 pages long, which is way more than most lawsuits of this type. That is like turning a short story into a huge novel. But she seemed to believe that if she threw enough words together, people would not notice how weak her arguments were.
We don't think we should have to present some of our text messages in discovery with our high-profile clients, that being Taylor Swift and whoever else. Some people say Bradley Cooper and whatever other friends of Blake Lively might get sucked into this.
For Blake and Ryan, their marriage is also part of the public eye, which can bring even more stress. Every time they make a move, thousands of fans analyze it on social media, looking for hidden clues. Meanwhile, Justin is trying to keep his own career afloat, proving he is not the villain some headlines make him out to be. There's also the question of how all this will affect the industry's view. Others think it might teach Hollywood a lesson about better communication behind the scenes. Regardless, the film has already become overshadowed by its own scandal. People did notice, though, and they realized it was just a big media strategy to distract from her actual lack of evidence. Some legal experts read all 180 pages and found that most of it was not even about legal claims. It was more like a press release. There was hardly anything to back up her accusations. It seemed like a very clear attempt to control the public's opinion rather than fight a real legal battle. And if you need that many pages to prove something happened, it probably means nothing significant actually happened. She also made a huge mistake when she tried to show a video that she claimed would prove Baldoni had done something terrible. She told everyone that this video was horrifying and would destroy Baldoni's reputation forever. But when the full video came out, it showed Blake smiling, acting perfectly fine, and looking comfortable in the scene. She was not at all in the distress she had claimed. Agents and casting directors sometimes shy away from performers and filmmakers connected to drama, worried about negative press. This means the fallout could be bigger than just the main stars. It can spiral into a massive scandal with real consequences. People's reputations hang in the balance, and sometimes the truth gets buried under gossip, rumors, and flashy headlines. The complete opposite of what she had told everyone. That was like a giant warning sign for the judge and the jury. They realized that if Blake could lie about that, what else could she be lying about? Then Blake tried to make up yet another excuse. She said that Baldoni was not in character during the scene, and she was forced to pretend she liked him. But Blake is literally an actress. Being paid to pretend you like someone is a basic part of acting. It made no sense. It was just another way for her to dodge responsibility and shift blame. Legally, this was a huge problem for Blake because if a single lie is discovered in her testimony, the jury can throw out everything she says. She had already been caught lying many times, so her entire statement could be ignored. She might have thought she could rewrite history and make the public believe her, but she ended up wrecking her own credibility. By the time the real trial comes around, if it does, nobody will believe a single word she says. Blake still did not learn from her mistakes. Every time she got exposed, she made some new story up to cover the old one, digging herself into an even deeper hole. Watching her was like watching someone pick up a shovel, dig a big hole, realize they were stuck, and then keep digging faster. Everyone else saw the problem, except her. Even Hollywood insiders, who often stand by famous people no matter what, began to look at Blake's lawsuit and think it was embarrassing. She might have saved face. Instead, she charged forward and the truth smacked her down. Now, the entire world sees her as someone who orchestrated a big show, bribed people with huge sums of money, brought in made-up witnesses, used a large PR team, and even got old CIA operatives involved. None of that could wash away the facts. The judge saw straight through it all and recognized the lawsuit for what it truly was, a way to manipulate public perception without actual proof. Ryan Reynolds, tied to Blake Lively, is probably upset, but he is also part of this fiasco. Their brand is in shambles. Their names are dragged through the mud because they tried too hard to spin a fantasy that ended up unraveling. Hollywood might not be so quick to help them now, especially after seeing how easily they lie and how willing they are to blackball people who get in their way. Their entire plan seems to have been built on a foundation of fiction, and that foundation crumbled. The biggest takeaway is that you cannot simply waltz into court and expect your fame to shield you from scrutiny.